Hey guys, today I'm doing a bit of a different video, but I'm answering a question or I'm answering a comment that one of our subscribers have actually posted on my channel. And I wanted to basically share this with you because I'm not too sure if you are in the same situation. But the question is basically what I would do to get to a million again if I was just working a 9 to 5. Okay, so for example, this person here, I won't name his name, but he said, my problem is I don't have 1 million or 500K to hold or trade. I have 120K. I get paid about 10K a month. Total expenses around 3K a month. Feel impossible to get ahead. Okay, I think this is like extremely important because I think a lot of people who are working in major cities who are actually making good money. So they are actually in a professional job. They're probably in a white collar job somewhere. You can see he's getting paid 10K a month, which is around 120K a year, which is actually not a bad salary at all. And then they still feel impossible to get ahead. Okay, so I'm going to lay out a plan in this video so that you can see whether your situation aligns with his situation. And this is what I would generally do if I was working a 9 to 5 and I just want to get to my same position today. Okay, so this guy makes about 10K a month. Okay, expenses about 3K, so about 7K net profit a year. Okay, so every 7K is basically free money. Okay, sorry, not free, but like money that he can play around with. Okay, so I would call it risk on money. Okay, so how I think about money is that you have risk on money, and then you have like risk of and I call it like living expenses money. Okay, so personally for me, I know 99% of you guys are guys. Okay, I only know like 2 women watch this channel. Okay, so for the 99% of you, if you're a guy, you probably don't buy a lot of stuff, right? You probably just need food. You probably need the gym membership or something like that. You have the floor, so if you have a gym membership, you actually can use the floor. It's free. And then you probably need to buy a bag maybe once every five, maybe two every 2 years or stuff like that. The most you buy probably is like a laptop and an iPhone, and then you need Wi-Fi, right? So you don't really need a lot to live. I don't know what else you do, but like my risk of money is like very very low. I can like live off like $500 per month in expenses, no problem. Okay, and then risk on money is basically all the other money that I'm willing to risk to put in investment, to put in portfolio, to put in if you're doing a business or whatever, it's like stuff like that. Okay, so how I think about risk on money is anything that can basically grow my money over time, right? So I'm very willing to spend. Sorry, I'm very willing to spend this money because I know that my $1, for example, can become $2. Okay, so any type of money that is in this category, I generally will spend. I don't care about it because I'm gonna make more money eventually. Okay, even if it's a business, right? Even in the first 6 months, for example, I lose money. I'm actually okay with that because I call it a tax write-off. Okay, so it's actually helping my tax situation. Okay, so when I buy a stock, right, I don't see it as spending money. I see it as making money. So I don't have emotional attachment to that decision, if that makes sense. Okay, my risk on money at the same time for my portfolio. Okay, I call it I'll put it money that is secured. Okay, what do I mean by this? Okay, when I work a job, for example, or when I start a business, right? It's a small business. So the profits or like the money that I made from here, the profits are unsecured. The reason why they're unsecured is because the reason why I can stay in this job is because I have a healthy body. Okay, so if I don't have a healthy body, I will lose the profits over time. If I start a business, but then the business it has made some money, for example, for 8 months, for 1 year, it does not mean for year number 2 I still make profits. So it's still unsecured. However, when I go and buy Google, for example, okay, when I go and buy Google, when I buy Amazon, when I buy Microsoft, when I go buy Bitcoin, for example, these assets to me are very risk free. They are too big already, and because they are so big, the amount of money that I put in the investment is basically secured because the people at Google, the very very smart people at Google, the very smart people at Microsoft, the decentralized platform, everybody in the world is invested into Bitcoin somewhat, right? They are working for me, and there's no need for my involvement. So I would say, like, to me this is secure because like I am not involved in this. There is no risk about my body or my health, and there's no risk about me losing money on a business. Okay, so this is how I think about money in general. Okay, what I would be doing is that, so this guy makes, for example, 10K a month. So right now he has 120K. Okay, So let's start with the 120k before we talk about anything else. He has about 120k in savings, which is actually fantastic, by the way. So congratulations on this. What I would do is I would deploy it into a few stocks. If you want, you can go and buy bonds, but I don't know what your risk profile is. Okay, so I'm not going to assume anything. Um, but whatever you want to do, just do it according to your risk profile. What I would do personally is obviously I would go into stocks. Okay, if you want to be a bit contrarian or whatever you want to call it, if you want to buy Bitcoin, it does not matter. If you want to be contrarian, you can go and buy gold, right? If you believe that the US economy will collapse, go and buy gold because like gold is the haven asset, right? BTC is the digital gold, so it's the digital version of it basically. So anytime uncertainty happens, so for example, war happens. If you saw Charlie Kirk, right, he got assassinated. Like shit happens, right? Like a lot of uncertainty happens, right? Every time uncertainty increases, the price of gold basically goes up. Okay, so if you believe that the world is going to get worse and worse, income inequality, riots, protests, political uprising, etc., then go and buy this stuff right here. Okay, if you like risk on assets and stuff like that, go and buy stocks. Right? If you're very very conservative, go and buy bonds. Okay, what people get stuck at is that they have this amount of money in the bank account, all right, and then they are getting maybe what 1% interest, 0.0001% interest, etc., right? And so they're basically losing money to inflation immediately. Okay, what you want to do is you want to slowly deploy, and then eventually you want to get to the standpoint where you are almost like 90% deployed. Okay, so this is how I think about things, right? It's like I have this amount of cash. Every single day that I'm not deploying this cash, for example, is basically losing me money. So I need to quickly or like gradually, I will gradually put into stuff, and then eventually everything will go in. Okay, so that is the expectation at the end of the day. Okay, so then afterwards you need to ask yourself, what stocks do I buy? Or like when do I buy gold, etc., etc. And so obviously I have other videos on the channel that basically explain this. There's a video in the description. You can go and watch it for this stuff here. Okay, but you need to like try to fully deploy. If you don't fully deploy, right, it's sitting there doing nothing. It's literally doing nothing. Okay, so if you're doing nothing, you're wasting time. You're literally wasting your time. So don't do that. Okay, that's the first thing I would do. And then let's go back to his active income. Okay, so I'll just put AI here, active income, right here. So it's his AI. Okay, he's making 10k a month. Okay, obviously after expenses is actually 7k a month. So this is the real profit over here. This 7k here, I would try to bring it into a risk on money asset, right? So obviously, maybe like 50%, 60%, 70% of that money should be going into your risk on profile here. Should be going to stuff that is going to increase your net worth over time. So every single month you should be doing this. Whatever percentage, whatever amount you're doing, it does not matter. If you want to put in 3k, just put in 3k. If you want to put in 5k, put in 5k, right? This is your hard-earned money, not mine. So you decide what you're comfortable with. Okay. The other, for example, $500 to maybe $2,000 every single month. Okay. What I will be doing is I will be either investing into education. Okay. So what do I mean by education? Education is anything that will increase your earning potential over time. So if you can acquire a skill set, if you can learn a new skill that can help you make more money, you should definitely invest in that skill because it's going to get you more money, basically. That's number one. Number two, you should do if you want to do a side business or whatever it is. If you want to continue your job, right? You continue your job, but you have a side business, okay, SB side business, and then that side business you can do it concurrently with your job. You should expect to fail. By the way, you should expect to fail the first time because businesses, if you have never done business before, like you will learn that it's harder than it looks. Okay, but when it actually works, then yeah, you can actually make some money from it. But your side business, for example, I would take this remaining of this and I'll invest into the side business. Okay, if you are doing physical products, for example, okay, you need inventory. Okay, you probably need marketing, you need advertising cost, and stuff like that. But whatever money that you make here, for example, like it should come out from your salary. You basically treat it like a cash flow machine where you take all this money and you park it into this stuff over here. That's the first thing. Okay, if you're going to go into a software business, okay, then obviously you need a developer. If you have a developer yourself, you need a cloud infrastructure. Maybe you have AI fees, the APIs, etc., etc. And then all that money here is basically going into building that business right here. And then obviously you have marketing costs at the same time. Yep. Okay. So like if you are going to start a brick and mortar business, so brick and mortar business, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you can maybe do a rent. and then maybe you have like you have equipment, and then you have people, stuff like this. Okay. The last one you can do, I think, is you can do an agency type of business. So for example, I know someone who is like, he was previously at some immigration office, stuff like that. So he took that skill set, and then people were basically applying for citizenships, or a permanent residence of some sort. And then basically he took that skill set, and then he basically started an agency, and he helps people apply for this stuff right here. Right. So those types of things where, if in your job, for example, you're already doing something, and then you can take that skill set and then you can like sell it to other people. Yeah, you can start an agency on that, and that one you can start with $0. Maybe you start with $50 because maybe you need a website, maybe you need some contacts and stuff like that. Yeah, but this business here is very, very high profit margin. Okay, high profit margin. Okay, yeah. So this like depends on what type of business you want to run, but yeah, ultimately it's like you are right in the sense that this guy is right. He says he feels stuck. And the reason why he feels stuck, right, is because everybody's making so much money, or like everything on YouTube, everything on Instagram is always like, I'm flexing my Lambo, I'm like flying my jet and stuff like that. And so when you don't have these things, you compare yourself to them. But I want to make it clear to you guys, right, that hopefully you are an educated, forward, progressive person when you're watching my channel. But like personal finance is a personal journey, right? Like your journey is different from my journey, so you should not compare yourself to me. What you should compare is over the years, for example, have you been increasing your net worth versus decreasing it, right? If you have done that, right, actually you're already in a good position because you're way ahead versus most people. Okay, so what you need to look at is that on a year-on-year basis, are you improving your skill set, right? So for example, I give you how I measure myself, right? So for example, last year I think I did about a maybe 90% gain in my stock portfolio, etc. So right, so that is a number, that is a metric, right? And then I think the market went up about 33% or so, right? So to me, it's like I beat the market, and it's like I'm pretty happy about that. This year, for example, I'm anywhere from I think 20 to 40%, and then the market is up I think about 13%, right? So on a year-on-year basis, I'm doing worse than before, but I'm still beating the market. So if I beat the market, I'm pretty happy about it. And I know that this is year one, for example, year two, right? Next year, for example, by year three, right, I would have been more and more experienced in the market. And so I know how to spot more and more things, right? And so hopefully you see it that way where like, this is my journey, right? This is compartmentalized. This is my journey. This is not your journey. So don't compare yourself to me. My KPI or my goal, for example, is different from yours. And you should not compare yourself to mine. What you should be doing of how you want to set goals, for example, is that you want to, this is how I think about things. But for example, I have a very, very big goal. Okay, I have a very, very big goal. So my goal right here is that I am at a million right here, for example. I want to get to 10 million. Okay, so my goal is on the right hand side, 10 million, right? 10 million to me is like fantastic. But to me, I also, in my brain, I know it's like, this is a stretch goal. It's like, it's a stretch goal, right? Most people don't even hit 10 million. Okay. And I cannot compare myself to a Mark Zuckerberg and stuff like that. So I should not feel bad about myself just because I'm like 1,000 times poorer than him, for example, right? What I want to know is that even if I try really hard, right? You can see, I hopefully you can see I'm trying hard over here. But like even if I try hard and then I only make it to like 5.5 million. Okay, I do not consider myself a failure. I do not consider myself a failure. What I look at is that during this period where I set my goal, right? Have I exhausted all options? Okay, so I ask myself, it's like, have I really tried? Have I exhausted all options? Okay, have I learned something? Have I learned something new? Have I made new friends, connections that are meaningful, right? So like these things matter to me. At the end of the day, like this is a number. If you have 5 million, if you have 10 million, if you have 50 million, it does not matter because like if you're not aware, there are guys who have like 300 billion. So like you'll never be number one, and there's no point for me to compare myself to anybody. What you do need to compare yourself to is that, okay, you have a goal, you set the goal, you try hard in that goal, and then you have your own metrics to basically determine whether you were successful or not, right? So to me, for example, at the end of the day, I actually hit 3 million, for example, right? It takes maybe 7 years, way longer than I expected. And it's also falls short of this goal, right? But I know I tried. I did try all the options. I did learn something, and I made friends along the way. That's really all that matters, really. Yep. Okay. So when you guys write this type of comments, right? I appreciate it because I know that like I can really feel what you are feeling because I did feel this before. But at the same time, it's like your journey is different from my journey. You just assess yourself, look at yourself. It's like, am I good enough? Do I have enough skills? If you don't have enough skills, what you want to be doing is this strategy right here is you want to go and buy skills. You go put in the time to acquire those skills and then go and make the money from the skills. Simple. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you have excess cash and capital, don't sit around and look at nobody. Go and take that money and then go and do something. Go and really put it and like go and grow that money over time. Okay. By year 1, 2, 3, you can see, right? Even for me, year 1, year 2, year 3, etc. You're gonna gradually get better over time. You're gonna get more experience, and then you're gonna have to you know what to look at. Okay, you know what to look at. You know how to get and look forward ahead. Yep. Okay. So hopefully this video is useful for you guys. And yeah, if you have any other videos, sorry, any other questions that you have, feel free to let me know. And yeah, we'll see you soon.